Hey everybody, it's Staccato. I'm a 90s hip hop fan, so I usually react to modern hip hop on this channel, but I recently hit 1,000 subscribers and I wanted to try something different. This is the first time I'm doing something like this, so I hope it's interesting. We'll find out. All right, today we are ranking Tupac's albums. That's right. So T- Tupac is my favorite rapper, and I've been thinking for a while that this would be fun, so I'm gonna do it. I'm only ranking the albums that he fully recorded while he was alive. So he's released a lot of albums after he died, and I'm not as into those. I honestly haven't ever heard them. I think that's a little bit disrespectful to him, if I'm being honest. I haven't even heard those, so that leaves us 5 albums here. I got them right here, and yeah, I'm gonna rank them. This ought to be fun. All right, I guess I'll just rank these in order. So we'll start with Tupacalypse Now, and I'll just leave that here right now. That's not the ranking. That's just where it's at right now. Yeah, so this one's interesting. His first studio album. I guess I'll just run through highlights. That's probably the best way to handle this. So, Young Black Male is the number one highlight for me here. I'd say it's also the first track, which I like. It's good to start your record off strong. Super strong song, I'd say. It's got a good message. It's showcasing Hawk's anger and summing up what he's all about in one song. So yeah, that's the highlight of the album, I'd say. Let's see other highlights. I've got my notes here. I'm using because there's a lot I gotta to discuss here. Trapped shows off his flow in a major way. I'd say he had it from the start, and the rest of his career was just refining it. Pac had the best flow and technical rapping ability, I'd say, out of anyone out there. If My Homie Calls, it's a nice upbeat song. It's not super serious. I like that about it. It's just a fun song, showing off his flow, giving love to his boys, all with some nice keyboards. I like that one a lot. Violent, good storytelling on that one. If I remember it right. I like the swagger in the lyrics. It's not super catchy, but there's enough good stuff happening in it to where I'd recommend it. Let's see, Words of Wisdom. Yeah, this one is a classic. It's basically Tupac preaching about what's going on in the streets and in his community and calling his people to action, telling them not to buy the narrative that poor people are incapable of accomplishing great things, and I like that. Let's see, it's also got Brenda's Got a Baby. That's an excellent song. A scathing criticism of the culture around him, how people in unfortunate life circumstances get taken advantage of. And he's not blaming anyone in this one. He's telling a story and just commenting on what he sees. So that's cool. It's an absolute classic. I bet most people have heard this one. If you don't, that's the one I would recommend off this album. That's for sure. If I can only pick one, and even above Young Black Male, I'd say. Yeah, it honestly feels like it could have come off of his more recent albums, I'd say, and it's an early indicator of where he was headed in terms of his style. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's all of the highlights on this one, I'd say. Low lights or ones I'm not as interested in. Soldier Story. It's just a little boring. There isn't a lot happening in it. Something Wicked. Yeah, it's a little catchy, I guess, but it's just very samey all the way through. The Lunatic, yes, same thing here with this one. It's not bad. There just isn't enough happening in it, and I want to stress that Tupac doesn't have any bad songs on any of the albums I've got here. I mean, I can listen to any of his albums all the way through without any problem. but I gotta rank them here, so that's what I'm gonna do. Part-time mother, yeah, this one I really don't like. I don't like the female vocal on it. That's the only reason really. But even this one, I mean, it's not awful. I like it okay, I suppose, and it's a little catchy, I guess. So my biggest criticisms of this album are the production for the most part. The vocals are really low in the mix, and unless you have really nice speakers or I don't know a car system, it sounds pretty muddy all the way through, and it can be a little tough to listen to, I'd say. Yeah, I think that maybe this is why you don't hear this album talked about as much as his other ones. But there's a lot on it that's likable if you can get into it, that's for sure. Yeah, and a lot of the tracks have a very similar sound, and some of them are a little bit outdated, I'd say, in terms of how they're constructed, but with the overlapping vocals, they're not really meshing right on a lot of songs. And I don't know if that's really a knock on the album, but because it's only an indication of how far hip hop has come after that. So yeah, this album is definitely a product of its time, but I like it a lot still. So I would rank this one a B, I think. Yeah, I figure that's a good place to start. I might re-rank it at the end. We'll see. So, all right, album two, strictly for my homies. We'll go with homies. This one here has good songs on it. Off the top, I'd say I don't like it as much as his debut album. But let's go through the highlights. So Hollow If You Hear Me, classic song, one of the few true radio jams on this album. It sounds really 80s with that high pitched whiny sound on it, and the cowbell. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's got a lot of classic samples on it, and yeah, good stuff. Oh, let's move that album up. What else is on here? Point the Finger. Yeah, that's one of. I'd say it's one of the early tracks of his that really indicates where he would end up on his later albums, the direction he was headed, how he talks about how shady the media is, and calling out his haters in that classic harass way that he does. And it's got a lot of swagger and that old school 80s style scratching, which I kind of miss in hip hop, by the way. Yeah, fire song. Let's see, what else? Soldier's Revenge is a nice old school fuck the cops track. That one always stays in my rotation. Yeah, he's angry on this one, talking about power to the people, and again, another topic he would return to over and over in the future, and it never gets old. I love a good populist song like this, and I think anyone can relate to it in their own way. The Streets Are Death Row is another highlight. Yeah. This one sounds like it's off of one of his later albums, honestly. It's really catchy, some nice scratching and horns, real lyrics about what's going on around him. It's good stuff. Representing 93. Yeah, this one's fun. It's grown on me over time. A lot of shout outs to others in the hip hop scene at the time. It's a fun one. Papa's song, catchy jam. Not much else I can really comment on there, but I don't ever skip it. Five Deadly Venoms. Yeah, this one has the catchiest hook, man. Those two horn blasts. I love that shit. I think of this one as a bridge, but between his older style and his newer stuff. And yeah, one of the absolute highlights on the album, I'd say, for sure. And I like the features on it, although I admit I don't think I've ever heard any of their other work, but on this track, yeah, it's fire. Lowlights on this album, let's see, Struggling, Guess Who's Back, Peep Game, I Get Around. These are just the same thing over and over, I'd say. I'm not all that into them. There's some interesting sounds on them, but I'll usually skip them. So all in all, I'd say that Strictly For My has a lot of the issues that his first album has. The main one is that the vocals aren't loud enough for me in the mix, and yeah, the production overall is just a little bit rough on this one too, and I think that was the intended style, but it still makes it hard to listen to sometimes, and especially if you don't have the best speakers and all that. Yeah, honestly, as I mentioned, I don't like this album as much as Apocalypse Now, so I'd probably rank it under that. And that's only because I'm ranking his albums in relation to each other and not against other rappers, you know. So if these were against other rappers, I would have it a lot higher. But yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. All right, next up, Me Against the World. Yeah, this is where we start getting into the albums. Well, where almost every song is awesome, and it gets hard to rank them, honestly. Yeah, I tend to see each of these albums listed as his best, depending on who's making the list. But this is my list, and we're gonna figure it out. So let's see. Yeah, I just want to emphasize I don't dislike any of the songs on this album. Even the ones I'm gonna hate on a little bit here, I still like them all basically. This is the album that put Tupac on the map in a major way, and maybe it's because of what was happening in his personal life at the time and with the media, but I'm not going to discuss that. I'm all about the music here, so go read up on that if you're interested in what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm just going to stick with the music. So yeah, I'd say that he really started to refine his sound on this one, and this is the first album that really sounds like what people think of as Tupac today, I'd say. So, all right, let's run through highlights. If I Die Tonight, probably my favorite on the album. Yeah, this is another album that has a strong start, that's for sure. He's got this awesome alliteration on it, and instead of just straight up rhymes, and it's also got insane rhymes, fantastic beat, insane flow. Yeah, it's a classic song, and it's one of those where the first time you hear it, you just want to learn all the words and rap along, and I do. So yeah, after that, Me Against the World, title track. Y'all know this one. I hope so anyway. I often hear the third verse mentioned as one of the best in hip-hop history, and I think that's an exaggeration, honestly, but it isn't a damn good verse, that's for sure. Yeah, this track has that classic the 90s high-pitched whistle thing in the hook, fire rapping, and yeah, what more is there to say about this one? Classic track. All right, other highlights, Temptations. Yeah, it's fun to sing along with the hey in this one. Yeah, it's got that saxophone-like sound on it. I don't know if it's actually a real sax. I don't think it is, but it sounds good. And yeah, this one's all about Tupac on his Mac game, admitting to being a player, and it's all about that swagger. Yeah, I love it. Let's see, what else? Heavy in the Game. Yeah, this one's another huge standout for me anyway. Catchiest song on the album, I'd say, and it's the one I hear the most often, if I'm being honest. I love this song. So sometimes I'll just hear the album just to hear this song. Yeah, it's an absolute jam. Talking about hustling and I guess you could call it the thug life. So there you go. I love the female vocals on the chorus of this one. Lady Levi brings it, especially with that awesome accent of hers. I don't know, Jamaican or whatever it is. And yeah, I don't know. I love the way that he sounds. And yeah, just a huge jam. This song, I love it. Fire verses from Hawk too. Lord knows. Okay, yeah, I don't want this video to be an hour long, so I'll just say that this one is super catchy. That's basically a pattern on this album, but that's just how it is. It's a fantastic album. Great verses, great rhymes, and that flute I love so much in 90s hip hop is there too. So yeah, that's good stuff. Can You Get Away? I love that one too. I feel like every album he's got a song about macking on some girl, and this one it works. Yeah, you gotta show off your game sometimes. It's a slower one, which usually I'm not all that into, but it's cool. I like it here, and I like the female vocal as well. Fuck the World is the last highlight I got. Super catchy. I love the deep vocals in the chorus. And I don't have anything else to add after that. I don't ever skip this one, that's for sure. All right, so low lights on this album. I know that a lot of people rank this one as their favorite of his, and I don't. There are a few songs on this album I'm not as into. So Many Tears. I like this song, as I mentioned, but I also skip it a lot. As I said, I'm not as into his slower stuff, but whenever I hear it, I always enjoy it, so I don't know exactly what that means. Young Homies will say, super catchy again, but yeah, I sometimes skip it as well. I don't know why, honestly. It's a great song, but I always want to hear the one after instead, which is Heavy in the Game. So there you go. Dear Mama, yeah, I know that this song has a lot of fans, but I'm not that into it. It is good. Well, whenever I hear it, I like it okay. I just usually skip it. It's a little slow and sentimental for me, and it's not really what I'm looking for in my hip hop. So there you go. Also, It Ain't Easy. Yes, same thing on this one. It's just a little bit too chill and slow for me, though Pac absolutely rings it on the verses, and it's still catchy enough. So also, there's Old School. That one's kind of a strange mid-tempo song. I respect all the shout-outs to all the hip-hop OGs and all that, but yeah, this one honestly reminds me of his earlier albums, and it's a little bit repetitive the whole time, and I don't know, it just isn't one of my favorites, but still good. I mean, what can I say? I like every song on this album. So let's see, last two, Death Around the Corner and Outlaw. I like these, but I usually skip them. They come at the end of the album, and honestly, I think that this album is just a little bit too long, which is funny, but because his album after this is a lot longer, but I like it even more. So if you don't mind me spoiling that. So all right, I think that's enough talking about this one here. I'll give this one an A. Yeah, it has more weaker songs on it than his albums I like more than this one, but it's also got a lot of songs that are way stronger than anything off his first two albums. So yeah, I mean, it can't really go under an A for me, so that's where it goes. All right, All Eyes on Me. So no bones about it. This one is my favorite Tupac album and my favorite hip hop album, I'd say. It's an automatic S. I'll just call that out right now. I actually won't talk about this album as much but because really I love every single song on it, and it's just nuts. But because it's a double album, but man, it's just super solid all the way through. No, not even solid. It's excellent. I will say that disc two isn't as strong as disc one, but that's to be expected from a double album. And unlike almost every other double album I've heard, the second disc is still really fucking great. He could have released disc two as its own album, and it would still be one of my favorite hip hop albums. So yeah, this album is like it's the gift that keeps on giving, man. Yeah, I remember the first time I was getting into it, I was just blown away by how much I liked every track on it. And yeah, the production is insane. I guess it helps that he worked with the Dr. Trey on this one, and you can hear that for sure. It's his only real G-Funk album, I'd say. You know, that classic West Coast sound that Trey helped innovate, and yeah, I think it's perfected here, and all while still sounding like Tupac at its heart. So yeah, flows are the best they've ever been on this album. His intonation is impeccable, and intonation is a word I use a lot on here. What I mean is just that the way his voice sounds. He has this crazy authority almost, I call it, and he just makes you want to pay attention. That's so something that not a lot of rappers have, especially not a lot of the modern rappers I've been hearing. He makes you want to rap along. A lot of confidence, a lot of swagger, and yeah, I can hear this album over and over and not ever get tired of it. So yeah, automatic S. There's just too many great tracks to even list here, and not really any lowlights at all. So I'm gonna do another video just on this album, I think, and rank all the songs on it. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, S rank for sure. All right, last up, the Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory. So this one is extremely interesting. It's the last one he recorded but before he died, which is why I'm ending it on this one. Again, I'm not interested in anything after this, and I honestly haven't heard any of them. Yeah, let's get into it. He released this one under the moniker Machiavelli. I don't know why, but it's still a Tupac album. So there you go. Highlights: Hail Mary, absolute classic. If you don't know this one, you're in for a treat. That's for sure. But I think most people know this one. I would hope so anyway. It's definitely one of his more famous songs, and for good reason. Toss It Up, yeah, another total banger. Super catchy, great song. I think that this one was another hit too. Yeah, it's got Casey and JoJo on it. Come on, that's good stuff. Very 90s, very awesome. To Live and Die in LA, yeah, another classic. Imagine that. I love the news reporter at the start. That's what I always to think of on this one. You got to hear it if you hadn't. It was another hit. There's a lot of hits off this album, that's for sure. And yeah, it's just hilarious, that intro, and just solid as fuck all the way through. The female vocals add a nice flavor, and I love that bass line. And yeah, altogether, a great track. Let's see. Next up is Life of an Outlaw. Catchy as fuck, a swagger song all about the game. You gotta love this one. Crazy. Yeah, this one is a little bit slower, but unlike a lot of his other slower songs, I like it a lot. It's introspective. It's reflecting on his life. It's got a lot of fun instruments. It's got a unique sound. Yeah, I really like this track. All right, let's see. White Man's World. Same thing on this one, really. It's also a little bit slower, but it might be the deepest one on the album. He sounds almost sad on it, and in the verses anyway, it's talking about injustices, but then he's also really angry in parts, and it's all over this weirdly subdued beat and smooth vocals. Yeah, really unique song, fun listen. Me and My Girlfriend is, I'd say, the last highlight on here. I love the instrumentals in it, and the lyrics and the meaning are fire, honestly. I like how it's all about fuck y'all, all I need is my gun. So sometimes you just want to hear a song like that. There's a lot of anger on this one, and I'm a huge fan of angry Tupac, so that works. Yeah, I guess it's a little slow for me, so once in a while I'll skip it, but still an awesome song. All right, lowlights on this album. Like Me Against the World, I don't understand those who rank this as his highest album. There's just a few songs on I'm not as into. Blasphemy is one. I don't dislike it. It's a little harsh, I'd say, and not really my style. And it's maybe a little bit slow, too. Just like Daddy, yeah, it's catchy enough, but it drags on a bit, and I usually skip it halfway through. That's all I got on that one. Against All Odds is another low light. Yeah, this one's a diss track, and it just isn't one of my favorites. I'm not a huge fan of diss tracks anyway. They got to be extremely funny or smart for me to be into them. And yeah, this one, it just isn't. The beat is too subdued. Not much going on, really. I get that it's a showcase for his vocals, but his flow in this one isn't anything special, and I get tired of it way before it's over. So, yeah, I like the anger on it, but that's about it. And yeah, that pretty much covers that album, if I'm remembering right. So, yeah, this one, it gets an A, and I'd probably rank it ahead of Me Against the World. So I'll leave it right there. Yeah, it's got more tracks that I like and less that I don't. That's the reasoning I'm using. It helps that it's a lot shorter in terms of track count anyway. It's almost an S, honestly. Yeah, because the ones on this one I really like, and there's only 2 or 3 that I'm not as into. I want to leave it as an A, though, and that's because as much as I love Machiavelli, I don't love it as much as All Eyes on Me, which is really saying something, because this album is fantastic. I'd recommend it to anyone who's a fan of hip-hop. If it were any other artist, I would probably rank it as an S, but I'm comparing his albums with each other, and it has to stay a tier below All Eyes on Me. All right, there you have it. That is my ranking of Tupac albums. Any Tupac fans watching, let me know what you think in the comments, or maybe you're not that familiar with him, in which case I hope you check out his stuff. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you like this one, and subscribe for more videos like this, as well as reactions to modern hip-hop, which I do every weekday. All right, see y'all.